Hey everybody, welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and in this video I want to show you some cool 3D figures that I've printed lately. Now specifically in this video I'm going to be showing the resin figures, but in another video I'm going to show you the filament based figures that I've also printed, and those are just as cool. Now to get things started here, the first couple figures I'm going to show you comes from Wicked Studios, which is an amazing group who makes some really big statues and busts, a lot of them from the Marvel franchise and some not from the Marvel franchise, and I'm subscribed to their Patreon, and that gives access to a bunch of really awesome files. Now lately the hype is the new Super Mario Brothers movie, and they have some sculptures based on that, and that's going to be the first one that I show you here today. So this is like a little mini diorama of Mario jumping on the head of a flying Koopa to get to this star up here. Now this came in a few different parts. I was able to print the top half of the body, the bottom half of the body, the star, the Koopa, and then this base here all came as individual parts. But they also have a lot of other files that comes in just one piece. So if you don't want to print everything off individually and then end up gluing them together, you do have the option of just printing one piece here. And this is not the only Mario Brothers figure that they have. There's a bunch of them there. There's one with Mario and Luigi in like hero poses. And there's also this massive diorama that depicts Mario in a bunch of different forms across some of the more historic games, Super Mario World, Mario 3, just all of them. And it just goes all the way up and around. It has a lot of different enemies. It's got the green pipes. It's got everything. And man, if you've got the time and the resin to build those, I think that you should if you're a Mario fan, because this is pretty awesome. Next up is a little something from Guardians of the Galaxy that I'm actually still working on. And this is a resin printed Groot bust. Now this guy came in several different pieces for the head, the body, the arms, the hands, and even the base here. And I'm still working to build him up, but you can just see the core of it right here. And it is some really great detail. And this is one of the great things about resin 3D printing, is it allows you to capture all of that detail that'd be very difficult for a typical, especially a beginning level filament printer to pull off. Because when you look at all the little ridges of the tree bark in Groot, it's just so well defined. You know, all these different lines and scratches and everything is something that it really shines when you can print it in resin. Now there's still some more pieces that I need to print with this guy because I ran out of resin, but I got some more coming momentarily. I'm going to be printing out these shoulder pieces right here for his arms, as well as some more little decorative pieces that you can put around the base. And then I also have a bunch of these little tiny pieces that also go on the base, and I'm going to need to put those in there too. One of the pieces, for example, here is this really cool Guardians emblem right here, and that's going to go like right there, down there in the center. So you know, when you build things like this in several pieces, just make sure you got yourself some super glue handy, because they will fit into the spots that they're supposed to fit in, but it's very loose fitting, so you're going to need some glue in order to secure it. And that's exactly how I got Mario to stay where he was. And so this is also a really good figure to try to get some paint work in, especially with an airbrush, because I think that messing up is something that will be not as easy to do, because you can have all these different variations of brown and green and maybe even like a black undercoat. So, you know, it'll look natural with a figure like Groot, but I am still working on him. This next figure is one that I'm also still working on, because it also comes in a lot of different pieces, but I really like this guy. This is Tyrael from Diablo, the video game series. Now I think that this was brought to light by Fotis Mint, and I'm going to try to leave links to all of the STL files except the ones that that I got from Wicked Studios, because you got to pay for those. It's $10 a month on Patreon. No links to those, but links to everything that's free that I show you here today in the description. But this Tyrael, amazing. And again, different parts for the body, the arms, the legs, and even a 3-part base here, because he will not stand up on his own. He needs this base, and it's just slotted into his back. Really great detail on this guy too. All the little insignias and designs on his armor. Oh my goodness. This guy will look amazing painted up in like a off-white and gold. Wonderful. Now what I still need to do is I need to print off the rest of these little pieces here, and these just kind of go like on the back of his wings. I'll just try to slot one of them in so you can get an idea of what it would look like, sort of like that. So just kind of imagine there's 4 more, and then they come out on opposite sides of this figure, and that will complete the look of Tyrael. Only thing is, it takes a surprisingly large amount of resin to print this and others like it, like shockingly a large amount of resin. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been kind of hesitant on it, because when I can build larger, or when I can print larger figures for around the same amount of resin that it takes to make like 4 of these, it's really, really tempting to just put it off. But he looks really cool just the way that he is right here. And yeah, it's Tyrael looking good. Now, when it comes to 3D printing in general, a lot of us fall into the trap of printing a whole lot of things and with the intention of painting them, but we end up hardly ever doing that because we just kind of want to keep the printer going 24/7. But I did find some time to put some paint on a couple of figures that I have printed previously. And here is one of them. So this is a female orc warrior. And I showed this in its regular, unprimed, unpainted form in an earlier video when I just started talking about 3D printing. But I got an airbrush for my birthday, and I decided to try it out on her. So what you see here is a combination of airbrushing. I airbrushed the green for her skin, and then I also just used a regular paintbrush for some of the really smaller bits that I didn't feel comfortable trying to get with an airbrush, such as like the handle right here on her big giant sledgehammer thingamajig, and some smaller details like the gold skull right there in the middle. And basically the whole weapon, I believe I just used a paintbrush for. And then also for the teeth and for the earrings, I also used a brush for those. But yeah, this was my first attempt at trying to airbrush a figure, and it was a little bit worrying at first when I thought I screwed something up. But you know, airbrushing just makes things a lot more easier as far as coating a large area in a relatively small amount of time, and best of all, in a smooth way without a lot of pooling and build up, you know, that tends to happen if you don't thin paints enough with a paintbrush. But I think this turned out pretty good. I like her. And then another thing, there's another figure that I showed off in one of those first videos, this troll here. And I also decided to put some paint on it using the airbrush as well, just going for like an earthy look. So there's a lot of brown in this guy, there's a lot of gray in this guy. One thing I would really change about him is I would darken up those lips a little bit and then dirty up those 2 teeth right there, just to make it a little bit more grimy. But all in all, you know, I do like them, and I do like the application of the airbrush and just how it makes everything just look a lot smoother, a lot more quickly than if you were to use a regular brush. So I really like that about this as well. So yeah, those are all of the figures that I have been working on and or have printed lately. And there is definitely going to be a lot more coming because I have some resin coming in from Amazon momentarily. So I'm going to try printing some more figures from Wicked Studios, from Marvel, as well as from Mario. And hopefully I can have successful prints. And if that happens, I'll be able to show you guys. So that's everything that I've been printing and painting that came out of my Anycubic Photon Mono 4K. But stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to this channel because the next video I'm going to be showing you some of the filament based things that I've printed, and it gets kind of big. It's pretty awesome. So stay tuned to that. And thank you all so much for watching this video. And until next time, take care of yourselves. I'm Jeremy, and I'll talk to you soon.